I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
And I'm Tristan Miller, the saucy sleuth.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audible.com/adcpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title for free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/adcpod.
All right, so we watched, what is it, episode 10?
Yes,
Of season 1.
Series 1, episode 10.
Of Agatha Christie's Poirot.
It's called The Dream.
The Dream.
Yeah.
all
I
a dream.
dreamed a dream in time gone by.
Mm-hmm.
I was going more I used to read a Word Up magazine.
Yeah,
Heavy
there.
D up in a limousine. But
Sweet
both
dreams are
both
made
solid
of
songs.
dreams. Who am I to dream a dream?
So let's all just talk about dream songs for the next 45 minutes.
Okay. All right.
I just have to say,
Uh-huh.
we're all speaking into our own personal microphones,
Oh, we did it.
and it's magical.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't have any water, so I won't hit the mic as much.
That's good.
But I may dry up and shatter into dust.
Start talking like that. Yeah. So this episode's pretty good, I think. It starts off at a meat pie factory.
And there's like a commercial going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It starts with that commercial.
and I thought it was so well produced, that bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
It was super great. So they're showing this, they're establishing that this meat pie company is,
The biggest
got
in
it
the
all
world.
locked down. Yeah. Biggest in the world. Everybody loves these meat pies.
It's their 50th anniversary or something like that.
That is correct,
It's an anniversary. Okay.
Yeah, it's the 50th anniversary.
So then after that commercial, we get the president, CEO, owner, whatever of the company talking to his workers. And it's...
So I've bombed as hard as he has. Because he's making jokes at the workers' expense, and everyone's like, no, we're thinking about forming a union, my guy, where Christian Bale's in the corner.
That's a Newsies thing.
That is a Newsies thing.
It took me a second, too. I was like, Batman? Why is Batman there? No.
I think we need to start a union. But yeah.
The Justice League, but continue.
Yes. And...
Does the Justice League have benefits?
Oh, definitely.
Their superpowers.
Yeah, just a bunch of just really good mental health and dental.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So,
So he gives a speech to the workers at the factory.
Yeah.
He says something like, you are all my friends. You have to be my friends because I pay you. And then dead silence, blank looks from everybody. It's
very
great.
good.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, no, you're good. Then the next scene, we see Anita from 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Making out with this dude.
She looks like Judy Greer. It's very...
Yeah.
She's very cute.
Yeah.
Big hair. Huge hair. Love a big-haired lady.
I was thinking that when my hair grows a bit, that it might be, because it's about the same level of curly as hers is. So give it a year.
Mine is almost there now.
You're getting there, yeah.
Yeah, the Farrah Fawcett thing going on. But anyway, they're smooching.
Yeah.
A
Jolie
lot.
Richardson is going to town on this clown, and his name is Herbert.
Yeah, discount Jude Law.
His name is Herbert, and they have been talking about getting married. They're obviously involved. And we find out that he worked for the factory and has just been informed that he has lost his job.
Oh, shoot.
We then find out that her name is Joanna. We find out that Joanna is the daughter of Mr. Farnsley. Benedict Farnsley, that's the name.
Yes.
Farnsley Pies.
Yes,
yeah? Okay.
that sounds right.
I'm going to
So
say,
she is the daughter of Benedict Farnsley, the owner of Farnsley Pies that we had just discussed.
Yeah.
And she goes on about how she could just kill her father. Dun, dun, dun.
Dum-bum.
Oh, and he's He is so marked for death at the very beginning of this episode.
Absolutely.
It's like the Murder, She Wrote convention of who's going to get killed.
Yeah.
He starts talking and you're like,
oh, this is the guy.
Yeah.
That has been kind of a trend over the last few episodes of Poirot that we've watched.
Absolutely.
Like, it's been very clear at the very beginning of the episode, like, who the mark is.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice.
I believe it's pronounced Marquis.
Okay.
It's kind of nice as like a wish fulfillment thing that
Sure.
in these shows that like the dude that is awful dies rather than, real life. Where...
Because the real life Joanna would have been murdered.
Yeah.
Anyway.
By Herbert. That does not happen.
Yeah, right.
Or at least in this episode.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Maybe there's a sequel.
Right.
Or a
Still got
squeakquel.
Oh, gosh. Next
Which one is that, Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alvin, there's been a murder.
Okay, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
But next we are back to Poirot's office, and we see Miss Lemon.
It's the best bit ever.
It's so good. This is a very funny episode. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah. Miss Lemon is typing on the typewriter.
A dippity dap.
And it just starts malfunctioning every once in a while. And she gets really frustrated. And Hugh Fraser, character name?
Hastings.
Thank
Captain
you.
Happy.
How long have we been doing this?
70 some episodes.
Well, we've been gone for a minute, but we're back with the jump off. So it's all
Don't
good.
do it. You have so much to live for.
But yes, Hastings, goodness, is going on about some nonsense. And she's like, this is not sustainable. I need a new typewriter. I've been not even hinting, outright telling Poirot for weeks and months that we need a new typewriter, for goodness sake. Anyway.
Yeah. He says that he's looking through the newspaper. Hastings is, and it's something spelled with a PH, and he's like, "Oh, that's clever." And I'm like, "Oh, that's where it started."
Yeah.
Okay. But then letter gets a Poirot. Poirot receives a letter.
Yes.
From the guy, the head honcho of this meat pie factory. Yes.
Cornsworth?
What? Oh.
The secretary.
Yes, technically, but it was a summons to meet him. Then he also got a letter from his landlord, which is important. But he gets a letter from his landlord about something or other, and then he gets a letter from the meat pie man.
Yeah, but dictated by...
Secretary?
Secretary,
assistant?
Yeah, secretary.
Yeah.
And wanting to meet him tonight. Or what have you. And then...
At 9:30, and he has to bring the letter as typed out in the postscript.
Yes. And then he does that. The butler shows him. It's very spooky. It's very ominous. He meets in the secretary's office.
Yes.
And this is where I was like, oh, I know exactly what's going on here happens. There's a bright light shining at Poirot, so he can't really see him at all. But the man who owns the meat man, if you will, it's like a milkman that he drops off. But he goes there and he's like, I had a dream. It's very weird. It's like we step into an episode of The Twilight Zone for 2 minutes, and he's like, I have a dream where I am sitting at my desk, and then I go to the window to look out, and then I pull out my revolver that's in my second desk drawer, and I shoot myself in the side of my head.
And it is always like 10:28 on my watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very spooky, and Poirot was like, cool. What do you want me to do about this? I solve crimes. I'm sorry you have a mind crime, but I can't really help you with that.
So he's like, well, I think I'm being hypnotized into killing myself. It's like, sure. Actually, no, he doesn't even say that. He, like, suggests it, and then Poirot is like, oh, you think you're being hypnotized. It's like, real? Yeah, we're gonna... That's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what we're gonna go with. That's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah. Great.
And then basically Poirot is like, I can't really help you. Here's your letter back. And he goes, oops, that's the one from my landlord. Sorry about that. And then he switches the letters and then he goes home.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do think it's important to point out that after he gives him the wrong letter the first time, Benedict Farnsley looks at the letter.
Yeah.
And seemingly reads it and folds it and puts it back. And then Poirot realizes his mistake and then switches the letter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Farnsley is like, yeah, cool, thank you. Thanks for doing that.
My favorite part of this whole interaction is when he goes back to the car with Hastings. And Hastings is like, how'd it go? And he's like, there's something wrong, but I have no idea what it is. And he just looks like he's just like, oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, Beans, I don't know. He looks so freaked out. It's very good acting from Suchet.
Yes, and did we mention this already? That Poirot asked to go in the other room?
Oh, no, we did not mention that.
I'm like, did I just, like,
no.
have an out-of-body
I missed
experience?
that part. So.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, so Poirot had asked Farnsley, like, well, I want to go in your office and check this out.
Yeah.
Because he, like, needs to get a lay of the land to be able to understand, like, you know how Poirot does. He needs to look at everything, all the clues. And he's like, no, definitely not. For sure no. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, if your little gray cells aren't working right now, what is going to the next room going to matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Poirot was like, oh, okay. Cool, I guess.
I've been attacked personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they go home. Hastings and Poirot.
And then they have a nice cup of tea, and Poirot has a hot chocolate, and they go to sleep, and they sleep for
8 hours.
8 hours. This is pure conjecture. This is not actually in the episode.
But
I'm making up a scene.
But it's the next day at the factory, right? That's the next scene.
The offices of the factory.
And there are 3 men waiting to see the boss.
Yeah.
And
his secretary.
The boss comes out, looks at them, and is like, I don't want to see you. And then he goes back in. And then an hour later, the secretary comes out of his office.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're still here? It's been an hour. And he's like, one of them's like, oh, almost an hour. The other one goes, it's been over an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Very incensed.
Yeah. So, And he's like, well, let me go check on
Mr. Farnsley.
Reginald Van Val Johnson.
Leave him out of this.
And he goes into the office, and then he scurries back out very upset.
Ah!
Oh, come here. You need to come in here.
And
someone needs to call the police.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I tell you? Every shot in this episode is a close-up. It's so fascinating. They're just like, do you get the drama? And we're like, yeah, I can see his halitosis.
You know you've got halitosis when you can see it.
He has visible
halitosis.
You see, like, the green, like, mist, like, coming out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It is a comic book. 100%.
So the police are called. Inspector Japp then calls Poirot.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, I don't know what's going on here. And he called you, so you better come down and explain it.
Yeah, so it seems like a pretty cut and dry suicide. He's got the gun in his hand, the gunshot's in the right place, blah, blah, blah. And Poirot says, okay, so why do you need me? It's like, well, the only weird thing about it is that he sent you a letter last night, so here we are, I guess, again. And, Poirot has a great line. It's something about, like, if Poirot isn't involved, you always suspect murder. And he seems like really happy about it.
And Japp is like, yeah, you're weird. You're almost a curse. I know.
Yeah.
You strange Eggman.
Oh my gosh, David Suchet would have been the perfect Robotnik. But moving on.
He would have been. So he goes home after scoping out the scene, and No, he doesn't go home yet. He goes and talks with Joanna, who is fencing, and it's a very funny scene because he's trying not to get hit by the foils.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, she looks good fencing.
Yeah, it was
She
super
looks,
cool.
she looks good, is what I'm saying.
Yes. No, I understand.
I wouldn't say that good. I mean, she did,
You
like...
shut up. I'm sorry.
She wasn't winning. Like, her training was obviously off, but, like, understandable given that her father has just died.
Yeah,
but...
shot himself in the back of the head, which is impressive.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Listen, she is a pretty lady with a sword in her hand.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
she
yes,
looks
yes.
fine. And fine at fencing.
Well, I think she looked better in 101 Dalmatians, but I digress.
I did have a big crush on. Is the character's name Anita?
Anita,
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously.
Yeah.
She's got big dog lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got big dog energy.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so they go there, and Poirot is like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "My father was a tool, basically."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I had every reason to kill him.
But I did not. She's like, "I could have killed my dad, but I didn't." So
Yeah.
then Poirot goes home, and it's the best scene in the world.
Yes.
Because he's like, my gray cells, they are not working. And Hastings like, whatever, you're good. You got it. Don't know why he's from the East End now, but it's fine. And he's like, well, it's because of my fast living. And he's like, what are you talking about? You have hot chocolate, my guy. He's like, in my youth, Hastings, in my youth.
And Hastings is like, really?
Yeah.
And Poirot, like, raises his eyebrows with a little glint in his eye. No, what?
Which is why I want a prequel of Poirot, where he's just in the police force, and I want to play Poirot. That's my goal in life.
And he spoke it out into the universe.
Yeah, I'm gonna Jim Carrey myself and write myself a check for that production.
I love it.
So
Manifested into the universe.
Absolutely.
There you go.
So is this when we go back to Miss Lemon?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Poirot and Hastings walk in on Miss Lemon, leaning out of the window, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, well, just checking the time. Like, if I lean out of the window, I can see
The clock.
I can see the clock tower from here." He's like,
Yeah.
"Don't you have like a watch or something?" And she's like, "Yeah, but like mine never like really works." So
Is
this
it
is like
their magnetism?
yeah.
And Poirot's like, oh, yes, of course.
Yeah,
I
that's-
guess that was the thing back in the day of, like...
I'm gonna do a quick cursory Google search, but it does sound
Too
like
much iron in the diet, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or not enough.
it just makes her watch all,
Crazy.
hitting things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
It just sounds
then-
like a humble brag of like, people really like me. Have a magnetic personality.
But watches, nah.
No,
Yeah,
watch is
watches
like,
do not.
I'm over it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens, and then
Yeah.
Poirot is like, that's it. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, this is it. And then we cut to...
And he gives her a big hug and 2 kisses on the cheek, and she's like,
yeah.
okay, cool, great, whatever. Oh, there's also a great line, I don't remember when it happens, but they're talking about the typewriter, and Poirot's like, why am I just finding out about this now? And she said, no, I am constantly telling you about this. And he's like, but I try to make everyone happy. She said, I don't need to be happy.
I need to type.
Yeah. It's great. Anyway.
I wish more millennials would be on that train. Like, you don't need to be happy at your job. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
So they go, he's like, call everybody in the parlor of the meat pie factory. Meet me in the lobby.
You know he has to have a dramatic reveal.
He just loves the attention.
And he gives Hastings a loaded revolver.
He does.
Yep.
And builds tension.
Yeah.
Builds the tension.
So he meets everybody, which is 4 people. It's the secretary.
It's Anita, the secretary.
Yes.
The wife.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mrs. Farnsley, who is the stepmother to Joanna.
And she's
Yeah.
only like 7 years older than Joanna. Also known as Anita, for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
Well, known as Anita to us, not the
Yeah,
other side.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
She doesn't have an alias. She's not Jennifer Garner.
There's one other person in the room who I never remember seeing.
We'll
before.
call Billy Bob.
Yeah, Billy Bob. He's clearly not important.
Unfortunately. The psychiatrist that.
Oh, yes, from
the old man went to because he's like
on Halsey Street.
Yeah.
Because before reaching out to Poirot, he reached out to a psychiatrist on Halsey Street about his dream, supposedly.
Right, that's right. Because the hypnotism thing. Yes.
So.
Anyway.
Basically, there's a big parlor reveal, but I think we should go to commercial break before that. Hello, everybody. This is Tristan Miller, the Saucy Sleuth, coming at you with the mid-show break. As always, you can go to patreon.com/TristanJMiller to support this podcast and a few others like it. You can follow Melissa at Melissa J. Meli on Twitter. It's Tyler Riley for Tyler, and me at Tristan J. Miller 1. Also us at ADC Pod. Please share the show with your friends. Also rate, review, subscribe. It does really help us with the numbers. I am aware that Stitcher has stopped working. I'm trying to fix it as best as I can. They've not been exactly helpful with that, but we are aware of the problem and do apologize for it. Thank you very much for your patience. In the meantime, you can listen to us on the Spotify app if you have an Android device. I'd also like to thank the Scavengers Network, of which we are a member. You can find many fine programs there, such as Spooky Spouses, Historical Hotties, and a bunch of others. Also, they have a lot of YouTube content. Go to youtube.com and put in the little search bar, Scavengers Network. You can check it out there. That's pretty much it. I hope you're enjoying the episode. I hope you're enjoying your life. I know I'm doing both of those things. All right, let's just get back to it. And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Those are some good ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yummy in my tummy, those advertisements.
I know. Why am I thinking of snacks?
We always think of...
Did you guys go and get a snack?
Does Blue Apron sponsor us again?
But he goes to the parlor and he's like, I'll show you what happened. It's like, can everyone just lean out the window and look to the right? Because he was famous for knowing exactly whether or not the pies were being made on time.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, this whole pie talk, all this pie talk in this episode only reminded me of Chicken Run. And now I'm like, I gotta watch that movie again for the 14th time.
Just 14?
They're all leaning out that window. They're all leaning out the window going, oh, look. And then Hastings has snuck into the secretary's office and fires the gun in the air. And
first, he aims it.
Yeah.
For dramatic tension.
Yeah.
Which is like, why would Hastings do that? I guess he was like, maybe I should shoot near them to scare them. And then he's
right
like,
past their ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna try to shoot the steam pipe.
Same here.
First.
Yeah, because he has been in the military. He's probably a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
So.
And everyone's like,
Yeah. He does shoot into the air, a la Hamilton, and it's very alarming. And Poirot's like, "Yup, exactly."
And everyone's like, "Oh no!" And it's like, "Well, who done it then?"
Yeah.
And
it ends up being that it was the secretary.
It's never the secretary, though.
It's always the secretary.
I thought it was always the butler.
Not really. Not in this one. Not in the Poirot. But it's always the husband in
that's
IRL.
fair.
Yeah. Anyway, but he comes in and explains he's been asking about Farnsley's glasses. Like, did he have very bad eyesight? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Terrible, horrendous.
He asked the wife, like, how many pairs of eyeglasses did he have? And she's like, I don't know, 3 or 4. Why is that important? So the big reveal is that it was never Farnsley, actually, who was sitting in the office with Poirot or sent the letter to him. It was the secretary dressed up as him. Hence the
light shining in Poirot's face.
Yeah.
The terrible voice that doesn't match. Because he was like, yes, I've had this dream.
Yeah. I have a dream. There's so many.
There's a lot of dreaming songs.
And he was wearing his, great big glasses that made the perfectly, 20/20 vision, well-sighted man not be able to see very well, which
Hence
is
the letter thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we figure out that the reason that Farnsley's office was where it was, looking out onto a wall, is because if he leaned out the window, he could see the production. That's how he always knew when the pies were being made. And the secretary's office was right next door, and he knew that Farnsley would check on the pies all the time. So
around 10 o'clock to make sure they were going.
Exactly. So at exactly that same time, the secretary leans out his own window and shoots him. Then once he went in the other room to ask him, oh, hey, you got these people out here, allegedly, to see you. And he presses the gun into his hand so that it looks like a suicide.
Also, that's the reason Poirot, they didn't want to go in his office, because Farnsley was just in his office when Poirot met with the secretary.
Yes, exactly.
And then apparently the secretary and Farnsley's wife were having an affair, and that's why he did it.
Yeah, because she stood to inherit
a lot of money.
Joanna says, I get pretty much everything, but, his wife does get like $250,000. Pounds, sorry. And, Poirot's like, well, that's enough to run away and get married and have a pretty good life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it sure was. Oh, well.
And then the secretary runs away, which leads to the worst series of stunts I've ever seen.
Oh my God, it was so
They're
bad. I loved
falling
it.
down the stairs is hysterical. Because it's just so slow.
Yeah.
So,
which is realistic, but also pretty whack.
So he's running down, he's trying to escape, and then Herbert, Joanna's beloved, drives up in a car.
In a
motorcycle
with a sidecar, because they're going to run off in a loop.
Yes. And she
so
yells
funny.
out the window, like, Get him!
Stop that man!
Stop that man! And he's like, oh, well, yes, all right then. And he does.
Because, there's a beat and he goes, oh, right! And then he...
And there's
so
one
funny.
shot that it's, super close up, so you can't actually see anything that's happening, and you just hear a ripping sound. And I'm like, what is this right now?
I have no idea.
But he does manage to subdue him. And he's like,
It's very funny. He's very jocular about it.
yeah, he's like, oh, are we still eloping then? And she's like, well, we don't really need to anymore.
Oh,
unless
right.
you want to. And he's like, oh, great. Yes, let's do that. Fantastic.
Hysterical.
It's great.
And so they go into the Inspector Japp's custody, and the last thing that the
my
woman
God.
says is, you foreigner. I was like, oh, there it is. We went the whole episode with nothing, and then there it is.
Yeah, it was just the wife, not Joanna.
Yeah.
Joanna's
Yeah.
the best. We love her.
Yeah.
Well, I love her. But yeah, the wife just says, you foreigner. And it's like, all right, well, here we are.
Somebody had to say it.
Yeah. Then we go back to the office, and Poirot is carrying a big package.
He is struggling with it.
He is
It is
struggling.
so heavy.
So heavy, and he sets it down
So satisfied with himself.
at Miss Levin's desk, and then he opens it, and he's like, I know this is exactly what you need, and everyone's excited, and then he pulls out a clock. So he's like, no, you don't have to lean out the window, because that's dangerous. And she's like, I love it.
With
gritted teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
And then he says, Hastings, I would never end up dead from, I could never be a millionaire because I care way too much about my employees. And Hastings is like, okay.
So, that's the episode. What do you guys
is.
think?
Tyler,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, always, we have to set the bar.
low.
One day you guys are gonna look at me and be like, it's 5 out of 5.
I know.
Podcast over.
You've reached the zenith.
I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So slightly better than average.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. I think we all kind of figured it out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Not so much like the how, but definitely the who of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite nice to see a young Julie Richardson.
Who is she?
Anita.
Okay. Is she known for other things?
Yeah, she's quite a big actress in her own right, especially over in the UK.
Okay. I'm not familiar.
Oh, okay.
That's all. I'll have to look her up.
Where was I?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
It was fun to see young Julie.
Yes, it was fun to see her, and I did enjoy like the bit of levity in this episode.
Yeah.
Which isn't like a huge departure, but it was just nice to kind of have, you know, some lightness around the darkness of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets points off for like just the really bad makeup job all around. People just looked not great. The men in particular just looked pretty awful this episode.
Yeah, like when he's disguised, it's like, oh, that's clearly a disguise. Why didn't they just get the act? Oh, no, they did. Because I believe the secretary plays both roles, and they just put him in old man makeup, which is also very clear at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little bit like, he does look exactly the same as he did before, though.
He
And
does.
that's because
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
the
same
same.
guy. I didn't realize that.
Ugh.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah, I just
really,
had
really
that
bad
realization.
makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gug.
And
Just hire another actor.
Poirot was not looking as dapper in this episode. I'm
No, he
sorry,
did-
he was not.
He had cuffed trousers. It was very confusing.
Yeah, it was.
I've never seen him in a cuffed trouser before.
Weird.
Yeah, very
And
strange.
Anita's hat in the beginning. Good.
Not a good hat.
Not a good hat.
It's in fact a
We've
bad
had so
hat.
many great hats, and this is the series, not series in the British sense, but for a season finale
Yeah.
of Poirot, and I wish they had gone out a bit stronger.
Yes, I do agree with that. But I would say that this is emblematic of what the season has been. Like, it's at its peak of, like, it feels like they finally found the tone of the show. I guess we'll see proceeding forward, but it also isn't, like, that big of a mystery. It's not, like, an iconic book adaptation or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked it very much. I actually give it, like, a 4.5 out of 5. I really, really like this. Like, this is an episode I would maybe watch again on my own time if I had the time to.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would give it 4.5. It was so enjoyable. And I mean, yeah, it was not like that confounding of a mystery, but it had all those elements of like a solid Poirot, except like no one was haunted.
That's fair.
There were no ghosts.
It was a bit Scooby-Doo at the end, though. Like, with the, you're gonna reveal with the makeup, it was you the whole time.
Oh, yes.
And
yeah.
I would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for that meddling foreigner.
Oh, man. And, like, the escape and then the weird fight at the end.
It's so silly.
Like, it's so silly, and I
love
actually
it.
love it for that. Like,
It's
I
so
don't
campy.
need this show to be, I don't know.
So serious all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like trying to Law and Order. There we go. I don't need it to be Law and Order.
Boom.
The first thought that popped into my head was Bones, and I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. That's different.
Yeah, so what did you think of this season like, as a whole, though?
Ooh,
Going through, racking your brains.
so we had some like really, I mean, maybe not like the biggest clunkers ever, but they
Sorry, clunker is very funny. I haven't heard that since like I lived in Minnesota. That's fantastic.
oh yeah, no.
Clunker.
We have that term in
On the East Coast.
on the East Coast as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like the kidnapping of the little boy. Actually, that one was kind of fun.
That was fun because what is it? I'm exhausted of this tunnel.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Yeah, but like, We have
so
we have the
fussy.
one on the boat.
My fussy little egg boy.
Yeah, we have the one on the boat, which was like
Yeah, the triangle at Rhodes, and then the murder on the sea, and like,
Yeah.
it's a mid-series slump, I would say.
Yeah. I don't remember what the first episode was.
I'll look it up while Tyler speaks.
Oh man, okay.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Have ideas now.
I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just I wish we had a stronger series end.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't need it to be like a series of Law and Order or anything like that, but like I just wish like this didn't really inspire me to be like, oh, can't wait for season 2. It was kind of like, oh, okay, this happened.
Well,
this was an episode.
Did see what the next.
Yeah, I am excited about that episode.
Right, I'm just saying, like, if just watching just this season,
Yes.
not knowing what's ahead, but just
Yeah.
this season, this didn't inspire me to be like, oh boy, can't wait for what's next.
Yeah.
So the episodes that we've watched in series 1 is Adventure of the Kaplan Cook. That one was pretty fun.
Yes, the
Yes,
Purple
that's
Cook.
right.
Murder on the Muse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Adventures of Johnny Waverly.
That
4
was
and
the
20
one,
Blackbirds,
boy.
which was very fun
that
but
was.
ridiculous. The Third Floor Flat, which was
Oh,
also
yeah.
very good. Then
I enjoyed
Triangle
that
at
one.
Roads, Problem at Sea,
Yeah, those
Incredible
were not
Theft, King of Clubs, and then The Dream. It like from Triangle at Roads to King of Clubs, it was like fine.
Yeah, it was a bit messy, but like I didn't like there wasn't an episode that like I like loathed.
Yeah.
No, absolutely
But
not. None of them
they're
are
definitely-
unwatchable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was definitely like a slump in quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty common for the first series of any show.
Yeah.
With like exception of series that were clearly meant for to be one season, and then they get like Good Place is so tight because they're like, okay, we have a whole story, and then we have 2 seasons lined up if we get an extension. But like if that had been the whole series, that would have been the whole series, and it would have made sense. But yeah, I think
You know what had a really solid first season? Firefly.
yeah.
Still mad about it. Anyway.
Watch Cowboy Bebop. It's the same show, only better. But also,
Do you talk about it on An Amazing Podcast?
yes, it's the one we started with, actually.
I was just trying to plug the
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Lob that slow ball over the plate, and I got it to second base.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's better than...
It's halfway.
Yeah, it's halfway, but it's not a home run. But yeah, I think it's a pretty solid like a season, and overall, I think I would give it like a 3.5 or 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty quality, but it's not like. But like I think the next season we'll see. I think it'll really hit its stride as to what they are doing.
So just to give you guys a little teaser, the next
Teaser.
is...
Oh boy.
It stopped being funny again.
And it always will.
I mean, it does come around eventually.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, why do it one time when you can shop at one store? No, why do it one time when you can do 10? And it's annoying. I am America's annoying little brother. That's my brand.
Well, at least you know yourself.
But anyway, the teaser for the next season.
Yes, it's going to be Peril at End House.
Yeah, which is
a 2-parter, is the first 2 episodes of the next season. So
yeah.
That should be pretty exciting.
Yes.
It's my favorite book, I think, that we've covered so far in
very
the
solid.
Poirot canon.
Yeah.
I now call this Amateur Detective Club meeting out of order.
You're out of order, and you're out of order. The whole meeting's out of order.
Gavel sound.